Flight numbers are a regular part of air travel. Obviously, they allow travelers to identify the aircraft and flight they're supposed to be on. In a past video on our Simple Flying main channel, we went over some generalities of flight numbers, particularly for US carriers. For example, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, and American Airlines all operate their mainline revenue service using flight numbers that are between 1 and 2,999. A higher numeric value, such as Delta 4516, will see you flying on a regional affiliate of the main line. Generally, if a flight number is 4 digits and starts with a 7 or 8, then it's a code share on a partner airline. But in today's video, we thought it would be fun and interesting to look at various flight number 1s of the world. Often, flight number 1 is assigned to a historical or prestigious service. How many airlines use it for a service to London? How many carriers use it for New York? Let's find out. Starting in the United States, American Airlines Flight AA1 is a daily service taking passengers from New York JFK to Los Angeles International. It's currently operated by an Airbus A321-200. Launching in 1953, the service was possible thanks to the addition of the Douglas DC-7 to American Airlines fleet. The 65-seat aircraft quickly became the flagship of American's fleet and was featured heavily across promotional material. The earliest form of this service gave American the ability to connect the east and west coasts of the United States in under 8 hours, a sharp decrease from the nearly 12-hour stopping service on the DC-6. While we won't go into too much historical detail for all flights, it's notable that Flight AA1 had a fatal accident in 1962 during takeoff. The Boeing 707 rolled and crashed into Jamaica Bay in New York City 2 minutes after taking off, killing all 87 passengers and 8 crew members aboard. The cause was discovered to be a manufacturing defect in the autopilot system that led to an uncommanded rudder control system input. For Atlanta-headquartered Delta Airlines, its flight DL1 is assigned to a service from New York JFK to London Heathrow. This daily service uses either an Airbus A330-200 or A330-300. Over at United Airlines, its UA1 is one of its longest services, a flight from San Francisco International to Singapore Changi. Operated by a Boeing 787-9, Flight Radar 24 says that average flight time for UA1 is 16 hours and 41 minutes. Launched in June 2016, the service was the only non-stop flight between the United States and Singapore at the time. Looking at an old forum thread on Flyer Talk, back in the 1990s, United's UA1 was a round-the-world service going from JFK to LAX, to Hong Kong, to Delhi, to London Heathrow, and finally back to JFK. To us, such a route would certainly be deserving of having flight number 1. Up in Canada, Air Canada's Flight AC1 is operated by a Boeing 777-300ER and takes passengers from Toronto Pearson to Tokyo Haneda. These days, its average flight time is about 13 hours. Many of you aviation enthusiasts out there will know that British Airways Flight BA1 currently does not exist. However, up until 2020, this flight number represented an all-business class service from London City Airport to New York JFK. It was operated by the only A318 in the British Airways fleet and made a stop in Shannon Island for US Customs pre-clearance. This gave passengers something to do while the aircraft was being refueled for its transatlantic journey. With London City being a shorter runway, the A318 was unable to take off from the facility with a full tank. As highlighted by the website Head for Points, Flight BA1, prior to the transatlantic A318 flight, was associated with the Concorde route from Heathrow to New York from the mid-1980s. In 2003, when Concorde was retired, the BA1 flight number was temporarily retired with it. While AF1 might mean Air Force One in certain contexts, it also means Air France Flight Number 1. For Air France, AF1 takes travelers from New York JFK to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Most often, the flight uses a Boeing 777-300ER, but has occasionally used the 777-200ER in the past. Interestingly, AF1's March 17, 2025 iteration used an Airbus A350-900, something that hasn't happened in at least the past 2 years according to flight history data from Flight Radar 24. Continuing to move east, Lufthansa's flight LH1 significantly breaks from what we've seen thus far in the video. It's not a flight to London nor New York, nor is it an ultra-long intercontinental service. In fact, Lufthansa's LH1 is a flight from Hamburg to Frankfurt. It currently appears to be operating 6 times per week using an Airbus A321-200. Next door in Poland, LOT Polish Airlines flight LO1 takes travellers from Warsaw Chopin Airport to Chicago O'Hare. Using either a Boeing 787-8 or 787-9, the route connects Poland with the massive Polish diaspora in Chicago. Over in Turkey, flight TK1 is yet another flight to New York JFK, this time from the relatively new Istanbul airport. It appears to currently be operating daily using a Boeing 777-300ER. Moving into the Middle East, Emirates flight EK1 is an Airbus A380 service from Dubai International to London Heathrow. Qatar Airways flight QR1 also heads to London Heathrow from Doha's Hamad International Airport. This flight uses either the Boeing 777-300ER or Airbus A350-900 or -1000. Much more rarely, the 777-200LR is deployed. Unlike its fellow Gulf rivals, Etihad's flight EY1 heads to New York JFK instead of London Heathrow. Departing from Abu Dhabi International Airport, the service uses the airline's luxurious Airbus A380, which is fitted with the rather unique 3-room residence suite. Over in East Asia, All Nippon Airways flight NH1 goes from Washington Dulles to Tokyo Narita with a Boeing 787-9. Japanese rival Japan Airlines flight JL1 goes from San Francisco to Tokyo Haneda with a 777-300ER. Down in Southeast Asia, Singapore Airlines flight SQ1 takes travellers from Hong Kong International Airport to Singapore Changi. According to MainlyMiles.com, SQ1 was a service that stretched much further than what we see today. In the 1980s, SQ1 took travellers from San Francisco to Honolulu to Hong Kong and then to Singapore. Down under, Qantas's QF1 is one of the airline's longest routes, connecting Sydney to London Heathrow via Singapore. This daily service uses the airline's flagship Airbus A380. Next door in New Zealand, Air New Zealand's NZ1 heads from New York JFK back to home base in Auckland, one of the airline's longest services. It uses a Boeing 787-9. Coming back over to the Americas, Aeromexico's flight AM1 connects the new world with the old, taking travelers from Mexico City to Madrid. This daily service is operated by the Boeing 787-9. In South America, LATAM's flight LA1 is not quite what you'd expect of such a prestigious number. This domestic service sees flights from Santiago to Puerto Natales in Chile. It's operated by an Airbus A320. So that's all we have time for in our trip around the world examining number 1 flights. We apologise if we didn't get a chance to cover your home airline or favourite carrier. While we wanted to cover every continent, some airlines simply didn't have a flight number 1. So, have you ever flown on a quote-unquote flight number 1 with an airline? Share your experience by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.